So I've already finalized what I want my brand to look like. I want to share a realistic look at my journey in a casual way. But I didn't actually know how to do that while also standing out on YouTube. So today I'm going to be going through the process of how I created my style using this video by April. I will not be showing the actual video. I will be going through the steps with you, but I will link the video down in the description. Now, I've already gone through the process of watching this video and getting all the information, so I will be going through that today by showing you which YouTube archetype I chose, as well as the visual, rhythmic, and delivery style that I got from this video. God, I am so sorry about all the construction in the background. I hope it's not bad, but I've mentioned this before, this construction is going to be here for a while. So that's great. So she starts by going through your archetype, which is basically the foundation for this entire thing. And so I went through that first, obviously. Now, to understand this, you need to figure out your vibe, role, and value you offer. Now, I figured out most of this when it came to my author brand video. So I had a lot of this already figured out, and I just had to plug in some keywords and phrases to the different things. So for vibe, the words that I chose, which I'll throw up on the screen, are casual, relaxed, authentic, and cozy. For role, I want it to be, again, casual, so peer or friend are some of the ways to describe this. Value was a little bit more complicated. I kind of had to piece together some phrases, and I came up with 3 options. To share one step ahead and live the experience to share the lessons. Show the journey to getting published. Third is to share with people what it's like to be an aspiring author in real time. She did say that this was going to change over time depending on what stage of life you're in, so that aspiring author title will hopefully eventually turn into published author, likely self-published author. But that's a future video conversation. So the archetype description I've chosen is the authentic friend who shares what it's like to be an aspiring author in real time. I don't want this to be an educational channel. I don't want to tell people what they should and shouldn't do. I am just sharing my experience, sharing my life, and letting people see what that's like. Now, the next section of this is defining the visual style, which is basically understanding what my videos will look like. So everything in this entire thing is just a general idea for me to work towards. I do not have any money to invest in this at the current moment. Eventually, when I start having a little bit more spending money, either from work or from this channel, I can then start investing in certain things. But I can't invest the money right now. I'm going to take it one step at a time, one thing at a time, and yeah. The first part in this is color palette, which basically sets the tone for everything. Now, the color palette I've chosen is, she explains to choose colors based off their meanings, because that's what people think when they see these colors. The colors I've chosen is blue for honesty, to represent the authentic part. Pink for romance, to represent like the type of romance I write in my stories. And purple for the magic fantasy element, as well as the trust element. And overall, I'm going for a pastel color palette to all of them to represent an optimistic, light, soft feel for my videos. The second part of this is set design, which she says is a storytelling tool and something constructed to reflect the identity. I would love to have a more cottagecore feel, but like an eclectic cottagecore. I will always have stuffed animals in my background. I will always have anime related stuff in my background, but I do want it to have more of a cottagecore feel. I would love to change out these curtains to a lighter color, probably something with florals on it. I would love to like have a background that just has that same feel, maybe adding some flowers here. I would love to maybe get some books in, okay, this is kind of ridiculous, but in covers that have a more pastel theme, but books I actually like. And whether or not I print out covers that I make myself through Canva and just wrap the books, or the books actually have pastel cover options, I'm not quite sure, but that's a whole thing for later on. The third part of this is wardrobe, which exists to complement the rest of these things. Again, light pastel colors. However, I would love to get some thrifted items. I would love everything to be casual, not casual, comfortable, maybe florally with a cottagecore feel to it. But again, money and time. Overall, I'm just wanting to keep this simple to add to the aesthetic without distracting from the video. Now, the fourth section in this is typography, and April explains that it's a subtle presence that packs a punch when used effectively. Now, currently, this is my text that I use. I use the blue text in a serif, I think, font and the white outline. This gives a very traditional vibe based off of the graphs and stuff that she showed. And I'm wanting to go with something that's a little bit more personal with an artistic vibe. So I'm going to change it to a handwriting font. If I've chosen one, it'll be on the screen. She also says that you need to choose a case for your font, which is like capitalization. When, where, how much. And I'm going to switch from the traditional one, which is like a sentence case, to an all lowercase font. Now, this is just to add more of an informal and aesthetic feel to my videos itself. Now, the fifth part in this is visual effects. She explains that it's a way to add power and energy to your videos. Now, for me, I don't currently use any. It adds to the casual effect by it just being a video of like a conversation, and that's what I want. I want my videos to feel like a conversation with a friend. If I ever decide to add visual effects, it'll be more like hand-drawn ones, sketch-based ones, but I will only do that when I hire somebody to edit my videos. But even then, it will always be clean and minimal. I'm trying to keep things as concise as possible so that I have more time for the creative elements. And eventually, I would love to hire somebody to simplify my process, but I don't see that happening within the next 6 months to a year. It's going to be a while before I ever get to the point of hiring someone. Now, with all that done, we move on to the second section, which is Rhythmic Style. In this section, she explains that we go through the flow and energy of the videos. Part one of this is to create a mood, which is mainly done by sound. Now, my videos are not very aesthetic, especially with the construction in the background. But this is basically what I live with on a day-to-day basis and what I will be living with for a while, so there's nothing I can do about it. Unfortunately, I don't have a place where I can go where the sound does not echo, and unfortunately, my mic and my editing do not allow me to delete the background noise. Now, currently, I don't have background music. I might play around with that in the future, but if you want me to do that, please let me know in the comments. As for sound effects, again, I don't have those. I might add them in the future, but for now, I don't include them. Part two is momentum, which is the pacing of the videos. I've already unintentionally chosen this, but she gives 3 options depending on like the types of videos you're doing and the vibe and mood you're trying to give off. Fast pace, medium pace, and slow pace. Now, fast pace is more high energy, medium pace is more conversational, and slow pace is more immersive. Now, I think my videos are more conversational, so I would say that they're more medium pace. At times, they might be slower based off of the editing and effects and stuff, and lack there of effects. But overall, probably medium pace is likely what this would be. This is mainly done through cuts in the videos. Hi. Now this is mainly done through cuts in the videos. For right now, I am focusing on consistency. I have never really been consistent when it comes to YouTube. I've had multiple channels, I've tried, but consistency has never been my strong suit. So everything I am doing is simple and efficient. I am trying just to get things done because I want to build consistency before I start adding effects and music and all the other things that come with interesting vlogging type videos. Hi. Once I build the habit of posting videos weekly, I might start adding a second video every so often, and then over time I will start playing around with my editing, but consistency is key right now. The third section in this is delivery style. Now she explains that the previous sections are to define your video's presentation, and this one is to define your presentation personally. Now she goes through 3 ways to nail down the delivery style of the individual person. Now the first one is how you speak, and generally this is how much you do or do not use a script. For me, I'm wanting to keep things very authentic, but in order for me to be able to be concise in a video, I need a general script. I do technically write out a full script as if I were to be reading it, but that's more so like a draft 0 of these videos. But as for the actual video, I'll kind of go off on my own and treat this fully word for word script as if it's a bullet point script. I use scripts as a guide because without it, I'm just talking nonsense. My videos are as if I am conversing with a friend. I use everyday words, I curse a little when it's necessary, and I pause, think, say ums and things like that. I try to cut out some of the ums, but not all of them. It really depends on the phrase in the sentence, and I don't cut out all of my moments of silence. Again, it depends on the phrase or the sentence. The second part of this is how you show up on camera, and this is basically how much you do or do not use a tripod. Now, I currently use a tripod because I'm doing sitting talking head videos. If I were to do vlogs, I would do more like handheld stuff. But for right now, a tripod is the way that I best function. I would love to be able to like change angles and move to different spots, but this is the only sort of nice background that I have. Hi. The third section in this is your individual personality and how much you do or do not want to inject into your videos. Now, I'm very logistical and I'm very low-key. So when it comes to logistical, I am a list person. I need a list, I need a process, I need something a guide of some kind to follow in order for me to function properly. Now, I can adjust and change the guides, but I need it to be there originally in order for me to even understand how things work. Now, I'm also very cynical, but I am not self-deprecating, and there's a huge difference. I kind of go into that when it comes to explaining how I don't overthink my writing, because to me, when I say my writing sucks, I don't mean my stories. My writing in the skill sucks because I haven't done it enough. I haven't edited my books properly. I haven't learned grammar and all that properly. So my writing in the form that I am telling my stories suck. But my stories don't. I love my stories. I love how they turn out. I love what I am trying to tell people. It's just the format in which I am telling said stories that I have a lot to work on. I am hoping all of this comes across in my videos. I am hoping that I am able to share who I really am in my videos, and I'm hoping that you guys can actually see that. Now, in the very beginning, I explained my author brand video. If you would like to see that, it's going to be up here on the screen. If you've enjoyed hanging out with me and you would like to see more of my videos, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.